How many young children do you know that have the dream of becoming a professional athlete when they grow up? As a little girl, it was my dream to become a college athlete. I have accomplished that goal, but would love to play at a four-year university, which would lead to being recruited to play softball at the professional level. While thinking about what my dream and goals are as an athlete, it really made me begin thinking about the pay gaps between professional male and female athletes. In the article written by Chris Martin titled Pay Equality, he states that the battle for equal pay in sports started with the Women's Tennis Association in 1970s, when a group of female athletes started their own women's-only tennis circuit to protect male tournament winners getting higher pay. The main sport in which both genders participate in are golf, tennis, basketball, softball, and baseball. According to the article by Imani Farmer, why are female athletes paid less than male athletes? Out of the 100 athletes on the 2017 Forbes list of the world's highest paid athletes, only one of them was a female, and that was Serena Williams at number 51. Male athletes get way more endorsements and sponsor opportunities than female athletes. The gap between Serena Williams' income and the second highest paid female athlete is about $14.4 million. Serena Williams' income was $27 million and Angelique Kerb's income was only $12.6 million. Tennis is better than any other sport for paying females, almost as equally as a male athlete. Most of females' incomes come from their endorsements and not their pay as an athlete. In the article written by Kelsey Castleberry titled Gender Discrimination in Sports, she states that according to the Women's Sports Foundation, male athletes get $179 million more in athletic scholarships each year than females do. Additionally, collegiate institutions spend just 24% of their athletic operated budgets on female sports, as well as just 16% of recruited budgets and 33% of social budgets on female athletes. According to the article written by John Walters in 2019, titled Taking a Closer Look at the Gender Pay Gap in Sports, states that the maximum pay for WNBA is $107,000, whereas the male minimum pay is $525,000. That's a $418,000 difference. John Walters also states that 5 of the biggest names in women's soccer issued a yellow card to the United States Soccer Federation, demanding that they receive equal pay for equal work. The U.S. women's national team is far more competitive on the pitch and far less compensated than the U.S. men's national team. The women have won 3 World Cups since the event was launched in 1992. While the men have never advanced beyond the quarterfinals. Each player on the U.S. women's national team earns $99,000 per year if they win 20 matches, which is the minimum number of matches that they would play. In contrast, each male player would earn $263,320 for the same feat and would still earn $100,000 if the team lost all 20 games. The women do not receive any extra pay for playing additional matches above 20, but the men earn an extra $5,000 to $17,625 for each match beyond the 20. Next, I'm going to talk about the comparison between the male and female body and how much they each have to work in order to do the same thing. In the article titled The Unfair Difference in Men and Women's Sports Teams by Riley Hinton states the sports. It's a love-hate relationship between the sports we play and the work you have to put in. Playing a sport is not a walk in the park. There is no time off either. You have summer packets for your summer training, preseason strength and conditioning where you are waking up before the sunrise or staying late until the sun goes down to get better than your opponent, in seasons where you have absolutely no life because there's 2 hours plus of practice on top of film and games. And then, finally, postseason, where you wake up at the same time as preseason, just to stay in shape. The time and effort you put in is endless and draining, but makes you feel so accomplished when you are done. In Kevin Nito's article titled, Should Women Athletes Earn the Same as Men? The science says they work as hard. He explains this topic from an experienced science perspective. The first thing Kevin Nito talks about is the difference in muscle distribution. Naturally, females have less muscle in the upper body compared to males. The difference can be as large as 30% in healthy individuals. The article also states that in sports such as javelin, tennis, and golf, female athletes are less stronger and less powerful in the upper body compared to the male counterparts. For any task or sport that female athletes participate in, women have to work harder than a man does. For example, in order to drive a golf ball 200 meters, a woman would need to use 80 to 90% of her maximum force, whereas a man might use only about 60%. Now to talk about physiology. Men have bigger hearts, which means greater blood volume, more red blood cells, greater lung capacity, and are on average usually taller and larger than women. For sport performance, this means that for any given athletic task, a woman athlete would be using the full 100% of her potential, whereas a male athlete might use only 90% of his potential. Because of the difference of male and female sex hormones, males have a greater response to training stimuli, the weight training and condition, than the females do. Male muscles grow larger and stronger than female muscles. At the end of his article, Kevin asks the question, so should women athletes be paid the same as men? His response to this, female athletes work harder, if not harder, than their male counterparts to achieve an absolute target, to expose their bodies to similar, if not higher risk of injury, which couldn't potentially be career-ending. So yes, they should. In conclusion, women are paid less than men in the same sport at the professional and collegiate level. As stated above, only about 33% of scholarship budgets are used on recruiting female athletes. College is where most athletes really start to get recognized and begin their professional career. If they choose to do so, in the article titled "No Matter the Sport, Women's Athletes Are Always Paid Less," Dave Barry says, if the players are not willing to walk away, they cannot change their wages. He is right, and it may have to come to this. So, as much as we wish it didn't have to. Women have to work way harder than most men do to be able to be recognized, just because our bodies are not built to do the same exact thing. Our world is changing and more women are becoming powerful all around us, and the sport industry needs to change in that aspect also. Little girls are looking up to women athletes saying, I want to be just like them when I grow up, but without getting equal pay, it's not fair for a woman to work just as hard, if not harder, to achieve the same goal that a male wants to achieve, but not get rewarded the same as a male.